Hello Otters, Mrs. Share here. I hope you're all well. I'm going to read the next chapter of Gangster Granny and it's chapter 11, Cheesy Beans and Sausage. Here we go. Ben sped home on his bike, not even noticing his burning legs and aching chest. He was going so fast he thought the police might give him a speeding ticket. As the wheels raced round, so did his mind. Could his boring old granny really be a gangster? A gangster granny? That must be why she liked books about gangsters so much. She's a one. He slid through the back door just as a familiar Strictly Stars Dancing theme tune blasted out from the living room. He had made it home just in time. But as Ben was about to disappear upstairs and pretend he was being in his bedroom doing his homework, Mum burst into the kitchen. "What are you doing?" she asked suspiciously. "You look very sweaty." "Oh, nothing," said Ben, feeling very sweaty. "Look at you," she continued as she approached him. "You're sweating like a pig." Ben had seen a few pigs in his life and none of them had been sweating. In fact, pig fans everywhere will tell you that pigs don't even have sweat glands, so they can't sweat. "I'm not sweating," Ben protested. Being accused of sweating made him sweat even more. "You are sweating. Have you been out running?" "No," replied Ben. "Ben, don't lie to me. I'm your mother," she said, pointing at herself, a false nail flying off into the air in the process. Her false nails came off a lot once Ben had found a false nail in his paella bolognese. "If you haven't been out running, Ben, then why are you sweating?" Ben had to think fast. The Strictly Stars Dancing theme tune was coming to an end. "I was dancing," he blurted out. "Dancing?" Mum didn't look convinced. Ben was no Flavio, and of course he hated ballroom dancing. "Yes, well, I've changed my mind about ballroom dancing. I love it." "But you said you hated it," shot back increasingly suspicious Mum. Many times. Only the other week you said you would rather eat your own bogies than watch that rubbish. Hearing you say that was like a dagger through my heart. "I'm so sorry, Mum, I really am." Ben reached out a hand to comfort her and another false nail fell to the floor. "But now I love it, honestly. I was just watching Strictly through the crack of the door and copying all of the moves." Mum beamed with pride. She looked as if the whole life suddenly had a meaning. Her voice turned strangely happy, yet sad. And if this was destiny? "Do you want to be?" She took a deep breath. "A professional dancer?" "Where's my cheesy beans and sausage, wife?" called Dad from the living room. "Shut your face, Pete." Mum's eyes were wet with tears of joy. She hadn't cried so much since Flavio was kicked out of the show in the last two weeks of the year. Flavio had been forced to partner with Dame Rachel Prejudice, who was so podgy all he could do was drag her around the floor. Ben desperately searched for a way to get out of this one. "Yeah, that really wasn't it." "Yes, I knew it," cried Mum. "Pete, come in and have a moment. Ben has got something he needs to tell you." Dad trudged in wearily. "What is it, Ben?" "You're not joining the circus, are you? My word, you're looking sweaty." "No, Pete," said Mum, slowly and deliberately, as if she was about to read out the name of the winner at the award ceremony. "Ben doesn't want to be a silly old plumber anymore." "Thank goodness for that," said Dad. "He wants to be." Mum looked at her son. "Tell him, Ben." Ben opened his mouth, but before he could say anything, Mum chimed in. "He wants to be a ballroom dancer." "Oh, there is a God," explained Dad. He looked up at the nicotine-stained ceiling as if it might catch a glimpse of a divine one. He was just practising in the kitchen, jabbered Mum excitedly, copying all the moves from the show. Dad looked into his son's eyes and shook his hand manfully. That's wonderful news, my boy. Your mum and I haven't achieved much in our lives, but with Mum being a nail polisher... I am a nail technician, Pete, corrected Mum scornfully. There's a word of difference, Pete. You do know that. Nail technician. Sorry, am I being just a boring old security guard because I was too fat for the police? The most excitement I've had all year was when I stopped a man in a wheelchair speeding out of the store with a tin of custard concealed under his blanket. But you becoming a ballroom dancer, well, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to us. That's very great, said Mum. The very, very greatest, agreed Dad. Really, it's the very, very greatest, said Mum. Let's just agree it's extremely great, said Dad, interrupted and very irritated. Only I warn you, boy, it's not going to be easy. If you train 8 hours a day, every day, for the next 20 years, you might just get on the TV show. Maybe he can do the American version, exclaimed Mum. Oh, Pete, just imagine, our boy, a huge American star. Well, let's not jump to the gun, wife. He's not one of the British ones yet. Right now, we have to think about entering him for the junior competition. You're right, Pete. Gail told me there was one in the town hall just before Christmas. Crack open it, that sparkling wine, wife. Oh, our son is going to be a cha-cha-cha champion. A naughty word exploded in Ben's head. How on earth was he going to get out of this? Poor Ben. And yet we love Strictly. Hope you enjoyed that chapter, children. I'm going to catch up with you very soon, hopefully reading you another chapter. But at home, keep reading. Bye.